How does a revolution begin? Is it with a single spark, or a slow, simmering unrest that finally boils over? Sometimes it starts with a silence, a deafening, defiant silence that sweeps through the heart of a city. 4 weeks ago, Tehran's Grand Bazaar, usually alive with commerce and the hum of daily life, fell eerily quiet. Shopkeepers pulled down their shutters, one after another, the metallic clang echoing through the ancient alleys, signaling something extraordinary. This wasn't a holiday or a day of rest. It was rebellion. A coordinated strike against a regime that had pushed them to the brink, a collective act of courage. The silence was a scream. The people had finally had enough. Their quiet defiance spoke louder than any chant or slogan. News of the strike spread, not through state media, but through whispers, coded conversations, and encrypted messages sent from phone to phone. Protests erupted across Iran, transforming from economic grievances to bold calls for freedom, justice, and the end of the Islamic Republic. The bazaar, long a barometer of Iranian society, had given its verdict. Its silence was a warning and a promise of change. Merchants, once cautious and wary, now stood with the streets, risking everything as their savings and futures vanished before their eyes. By closing their shops, they sent a clear message. The social contract is broken, and trust in the system has collapsed. The regime's system had failed, and the people would no longer participate in their own destruction. The old order was being challenged in the open. The silent bazaar became the epicenter of a national uprising, a symbol of unity and resistance. Empty stalls and locked gates symbolized a nation brought to a standstill by corruption and incompetence, a society refusing to be complicit any longer. The people, armed with courage, anger, and hope, poured into the streets to reclaim their country and their future. The silence was over. The roar of the people had just begun, echoing through every street and every heart. Iran's economic collapse wasn't an accident. It was the result of decades of corruption, mismanagement, and crushing sanctions. The regime prioritized ideology and foreign adventures over its own people, funneling billions to the Revolutionary Guard and proxy militias. Corruption became a way of life, enriching a small elite while the rest struggled. Key sectors were controlled by opaque foundations and IRGC-linked companies, stifling innovation and investment. The government printed money to cover deficits, fueling hyperinflation. Environmental crises, ignored by the state, devastated agriculture and industry. Sanctions acted as an accelerant, exposing the economy's hollow core. Iran now stands isolated, with no financial buffers and no answers. The regime's house of cards is collapsing under the weight of its own failures. The economy hasn't just faltered, it's fallen into the abyss. The people are left to pick up the pieces. Imagine living in a place where your money becomes worthless overnight, and every day brings new uncertainty. For 88 million Iranians, this is not a distant fear. It's their daily reality, shaping every decision and every moment. The rial's value has collapsed, over 50% in just 6 months, wiping out savings, salaries, and pensions that families spent years building. A teacher's monthly pay now barely covers a week's groceries, leaving families to stretch every rial and make impossible choices. Food prices have soared, putting even the most basic necessities out of reach for millions and making hunger a daily companion. Families face impossible choices: medicine or food, rent or warmth, sacrificing health and comfort just to survive. Youth unemployment is rampant. A generation sees no future, their dreams put on hold as opportunities vanish. The regime's internet shutdown, meant to quell protests, crippled banking and commerce, deepening the crisis and isolating people from the world. The middle class is vanishing, pushed into poverty as years of hard work and stability are erased. People now scavenge for food, Survival itself has become a form of protest against a system that has failed them. This is not just an economic downturn, it's the deliberate impoverishment of a nation, leaving millions with little hope. Desperation fuels the courage on the streets, as people risk everything for a chance at change. When survival itself is protest, taking to the streets becomes the only option left for many. The regime's grip is slipping, as the struggle for dignity and survival grows stronger every day. The regime blames the West for Iran's woes, but the truth is more complex. Decades of corruption and mismanagement set the stage, but sanctions tightened the noose. The 2015 nuclear deal offered hope, but the US withdrawal in 2018 and renewed sanctions crushed it. In 2025, the UN reimposed full sanctions, isolating Iran globally. Oil revenues and assets are frozen. Trade is nearly impossible. Only China remains a lifeline, buying discounted oil through shadowy means. Iran has become a vassal state, selling its resources just to survive. Sanctions have crippled the regime, but the people suffer most. The nation is caught in a straitjacket, with no easy escape. The regime is cornered, and the people are paying the price. The siege is total. Confronted with mass protests, the regime responded with brutal repression. Streets became war zones, with unarmed civilians facing the IRGC, Basiji militia, and police. The regime imposed internet blackouts, trying to hide its crackdown. Human rights groups estimate thousands killed. The true toll may be far higher. Mass detentions target journalists, students, and activists. Protesters face charges of enmity against God, a capital offense. The regime openly threatens executions for dissent. This is not justice, it's state terror. The iron fist may suppress protests for now, but it cannot kill the desire for freedom. Every death deepens the divide between rulers and ruled. The regime rules by fear, not consent. The people's anger only grows. The women of Iran have become icons of courage in this struggle. For decades, they've been targets of oppression. Now, they're leading the charge. Tearing off the hijab in public is a crime, yet women do it anyway, risking arrest or worse. They lead protests, confront security forces, and inspire others with their bravery. Their defiance is a direct challenge to the regime's ideology. Mothers demand justice for slain children. Students march, knowing the risks. These are ordinary women transformed into revolutionaries. The regime fears them, responding with vicious crackdowns. By challenging the hijab, they threaten the very fabric of the theocracy. Their courage is a beacon of hope for Iran's future. As Iran burns, the world debates intervene or stand by. The responsibility to protect doctrine says sovereignty is conditional. When a state commits atrocities, the world must act. Some call for sanctions, tech support for protesters, and global condemnation. Others argue only force can stop the regime's killing machine. Military intervention is fraught with peril. Could it save lives or spark a regional war? Non-military options may be too little, too late. The Gulf states warn against strikes, fearing chaos. The world is divided, the stakes immense. Every option carries risk, but inaction has a cost. The fate of millions hangs in the balance. Into this crisis steps the US, with President Trump promising to rescue Iranian protesters. A US carrier strike group heads to the Gulf, signaling the military option is on the table. The Pentagon weighs options: symbolic strikes, targeting repression, or crippling economic targets. The most extreme, a decapitation strike against the supreme leader. Iran's president warns this would mean war. Any US action could boost protesters' morale, or backfire, uniting the regime and sparking bloodier crackdowns. Foreign intervention risks shattering the protest movement's unity. Trump's promise raises hopes, but puts the region on a knife's edge. The next US move could shape the century. The world watches, holding its breath. Iran stands at a crossroads, its future unwritten, its destiny hanging in the balance. The choices made in these crucial days will echo for generations. The regime offers only bullets, not solutions. The people's anger is hardened by bloodshed. Each confrontation deepens the divide, fueling a cycle of pain and resistance. Will the regime crush this uprising, as before, imposing martial law and silencing dissent? Or will the cost of repression finally outweigh its power to control? Or is this time different? The protests' scale and unity are unprecedented, drawing together people from all walks of life, united by hope and courage. The fear barrier is broken. Cracks in the regime may widen. The spirit of defiance grows stronger with every act of bravery. Security forces could refuse to kill their own, leading to collapse and a new Iran. The loyalty of those in uniform is now uncertain, and history may turn on their choices. The fate of the nation rests with its people, risking everything for change. Families, friends, and strangers stand side by side, determined to shape their future. The world's role: support, isolate oppressors, amplify Iranian voices, has never been more vital. Global attention can tip the scales. The journey will be long and painful, but the regime's legitimacy is gone. The scars of struggle are visible, but so is the will to endure. The old Iran is dying, a new one struggles to be born. In the hearts of millions, hope flickers, refusing to be extinguished. The world holds its breath, waiting for the dawn. Every eye is fixed on Iran, anticipating what comes next. The story of Iran is far from over. Its next chapter is being written now, by the courage of its people.